Hello and welcome to the show. We are here today on Forza Horizon 4 with a vintage rally tournament, although there is one car that might, well, it is really a vintage rally car. So we built cars to A-class. However, they are using vintage race tyres. The reason being is that the normal rally tyres just give everything a million miles of grip. So we've restricted these to run on vintage race tyres, and they cannot be tyres bigger than 265s. So there's not going to be a huge amount of grip. There's going to be a lot of slipping and sliding, and there'll be some, well, kind of vintage rally action. But yeah, there is one actual rally car here amongst a sea of others. I'm driving a C3 Corvette. That'll be on the back row. I'm going up against a Dodge Charger first. So this is a 1v1 knockout tournament. The winner from each heat will go through to the next round. There'll be a spanner final for the 6 vehicles that fail to progress through the first round, which is basically a 6-car mayhem-inducing thing. I think we are just about ready to send this first load of vehicles off and underway. Let us launch them. A little bit of lag off of the line, don't worry about that, from the bathtub there. And it is the Ferrari that will lead the way. Of course, the Maserati is very, very light. Maserati is incredibly light and does have some very, very good speed here. It's all over the back of the Ferrari. It's going to get alongside here. Now, this is the fast section that we are going along here. This is the high-speed section. We'll test a car's top speed. However, the latter half of the race is a lot more technical. Big dive from the Ferrari through turn 1. So yeah, now we're starting to get into the technical section here, where you are going to be struggling a little bit for grip as both the Italian cars are slipping and sliding around. We head up towards the hairpin now. Whoop, over the house we go. Don't crash the car, do that camera shot quite as well through there. You get stuck on bits and pieces. The Ferrari continuing to lead the way here. The Maserati is certainly not out of this. It is easy, of course, to make little mistakes with these sorts of cars. There's another house over there, isn't there? Too many houses around for my rally camera likes. As we head around the final corner, and this will be the finish line. It will be the Ferrari that goes through. Closely fought, actually, by the Maserati there. The Maserati put up a very, very good fight there. It's not a slow car. We know the Ferrari is likely to be fast, mid-engined, and so on. We'll give it a little bit of a hand in that. I think that one's mid-engined, if I remember correctly. Yeah, a good run for the Ferrari. It will make it through to the next round. So, up next, we have got some rather unlikely competitors. I mean, the Mercedes was at least a race car, not exactly a car known for its rally prowess. Little bit, who knows, really. The Cadillac barge in testing was actually very, very quick. It's one of the cars that could be up there with a shout of taking this overall. So we shall have to see how that all pans out here as we get them off and underway. It's a good initial launch from the Mercedes. The Cadillac just gets that secondary phase of the Cadillac start. It's just that little bit better. Here comes the Merc slipping and sliding. Now, I have no doubt the Mercedes will have a higher top speed, but I doubt he's going to be able to get to it along here, as you can see. It's twisty, it's nasty, it's very high speed. You get a lot of, well, that Mercedes slips and slides its way. It actually does a fairly good job of managing to control it into this next corner. Now, this is where we have seen the Cadillac be very, very fast. The Cadillac is very, very good on traction. Presumably, because the immense amount of weight there is behind that vehicle, it is very good at managing to get out of these corners where all the other cars, of course on their vintage tyres, are struggling that little bit more. You see the Merc slipping and sliding around. I mean, the rain's not going to help matters too much. Oh, Mercedes is in trouble. Mercedes is through the wall. I think that's the Mercedes out of this one. It was struggling a little bit. That mistake will not have helped. So around the final corner we go. Cadillac will cross the line. That goes through to the next round. Mercedes, unfortunately not. Good effort. It stayed there for a little while, but just one small mistake. One small mistake. I turned in a bit too soon, tried to counter it, and just ended up in a little bit of strife. But the big pink barge is through to the next round. So, for our next heat, we have got a Lamborghini Miura up against a Camaro. There will either be another Italian car or another American car through to the next round. Miura looks pretty decent down here. Camaro haven't seen run, but the muscle cars are actually not too bad down this stage. We'll be curious to see which one of these is going to come out on top as we set them on their way. Good start for the Camaro initially. Now the Miura has just getting that little bit pulling back. It hasn't quite got alongside as I was expecting. Now the Lamborghini does potentially have that little bit of an advantage being mid-engine. That engine placement, the weight over the back of the car, might help them just a smidge to get some traction out of the corners. It's certainly hounding the Corvette all the way down, not Corvette, sorry, Camaro, all the way down to the first real corner. Can't get underneath for the run up the hill there. Now, overtaking is tough around here. If you can't outdrag a car down the straight, it is a lot of hard work. The Lambo's almost got around the outside. Can't get the nose up the inside at the hairpin here. Who has got the better traction? It looks like the Miura rapidly running out of places to find a way past if it's going to. It's again looking to the outside, inside. There's just not quite any space for the Lamborghini to find a way past. This is where you're going to have to chuck it up the inside halfway through the corner. It's the drag race towards the line. Who is going to get it? The Lamborghini takes it by a nose. Just a couple of millimetres in that one. Fantastic piece of driving from the Lamborghini. It sat on the bumper the whole way. I saw as they were going into that corner, the Camaro, sorry, was just a tiny little bit out wide. I didn't think the Miura was quite going to be able to do it initially. Fantastic race. Fantastic race indeed. A well-earned position in the next round for the Lamborghini. Up next, we have got another Italian car, a Ferrari 250 California, a terrible, terrible heretic of a Ferrari, and a teeny tiny Lotus 11. I mean, this is basically the entire opposite of the Cadillac. It's about as small a car as you can get. And this has a turbo rally engine in it. I don't know why that wasn't even an option, but apparently it was an option that couldn't be ignored when it was there. So, the heretic's Ferrari against the lightest car in the field on a bumpy rally stage. Who bloody knows? I guess, to be fair, at least the engine in the Ferrari is supposed to be doing this sort of stuff. I don't know whether that's actually a good idea with this in the slightest, but there we go. The Lotus could be fast. Okay, the 11 could be fast. However, they are notoriously difficult to drive because of that lightweight. You see how twitchy the green car is through all of that. You've really got to work. And one mistake could be the end of it. The Ferrari's gone very, very wide. Now, the Ferrari will get back to the inside for a half-decent run through these next corners, but that's not going to be enough for now. That Lotus is wobbling. Oh, the Lotus is going. Oh, just held it, but that's cost the lead for that Lotus 11. Oh, I bumped the tree. God damn it. Yeah, that's the wobble. That is always the danger with the 11, is that it is just a little bit too twitchy. The Ferrari has only got one more real corner to go, and provided it doesn't make a massive error through here, the Lotus has thrown everything at that final corner. It's got very, very close. The Ferrari takes it, though. Oh, that's unlucky for the Lotus. It looked like it might almost be there, but just too twitchy in the end. Just too twitchy for the bright green car. That means the Heretic's Ferrari is through to the next round. Our next contenders are the Shelby Cobra and the only sensible rally car here, the Alpine. Now, this does have a rear engine, which might make it work quite nicely in terms of traction. Not quite sure. While 265 tyres are the largest you are allowed on the vehicle, some cars just don't get them, and I would imagine the Alpine might be one that is on slightly smaller, so the Cobra might have some tyre advantage. It will have power advantage in that. Will the Alpine have enough traction to make this work? That is the question. It's a good start from the Alpine. Now, I would perhaps expect the Alpine to initially get away a little bit down this straight, purely because of that traction. However, wait for the power of the Cobra to kick in, if they can keep it under control, because let's not forget, as we said, it's bumpy, it's fast down here. Mistakes are easy to make. The Alpine is absolutely running away at the front, although that's very wide through there. The Alpine's visiting the scenery. That's not where you want to go through turn one. And, well, I say turn one, it's not technically turn one, that. You also definitely don't want to be hitting the walls around here. They lose you an awful, awful lot of time if you manage to clonk into them. The Alpine's having all sorts of trouble. And this is the problem. Once you've overdriven it ever so slightly like that, you're then desperately trying to make up more time. as you go along, and it's tough. On a stage like this, it is really difficult to try and make up all that time. The Alpine is fighting back well here. I think the Alpine would be a car to be feared potentially in all of this. However, yeah, it's not going to have enough time. Cobra's very wide. They're both very wide, actually, on their own around that final corner. It won't matter. The Shelby will take a victory. Alpine, a little bit unlucky. Just too much speed across the bumps. Will Cobra climb up the hill? Yes, it will. Yeah, Alpine, a little bit unlucky. Looked very fast. However, a small error into turn 1 and just couldn't recover. So we are on to the final of the heats. It is my C3 Corvette up against a Dodge Charger. There's going to be another American car in the next round. However, the question is, which one will it be? I do think my car is a pretty good... It's a pretty good vehicle for this. It technically doesn't have the maximum tyre widths. This one is actually on 255s at the back and 265s at the front, which is not really the way round I'd like it. And the Dodge is off the line a little bit better than me here. The Charger has got going. Now, we do have some 600 horsepower in the Corvette, which I'm hoping will be good. It's getting very, very foggy. The Dodge has carried a lot of speed through this first part. Now, how good will the Charger be? This is the tough bit here. Now, the Dodge is the slightly faster of the two cars in a straight line, but now it's not as good through the corners. The problem is, I can be a better car if I don't find a way past. We're going to have to do this the difficult way. There is a gap on the inside. Who has the traction out of the hairpin? The Dodge is slithering around side by side. Now, I might have pushed the Dodge a little wide through there. Lighting's going all sorts of funky through all of this. We head up towards... Oh no, I'm out of shape in the final corner. I might be in trouble here. The Dodge is slid a little bit too much. We are across the line. Oh, that was hard work. That Dodge really, really put up a good fight. Oh, that was not easy. That was not easy at all. Yeah, good race. Good race between the two classic American machines. I am through to the next round. I was hoping for a little bit more straightforward one, but here we go. We are at least through. So, before we get on to the semi-finals, we shall have the most important spanner final. The 6 vehicles that didn't make it out of round 1 will battle for honour, really, to be named the best spanner, I guess. So that means we have the Charger, the Mercedes, the Camaro, the Birdcage, the Alpine, and the twitchy Lotus. It's going to be carnage, because 6 cars doesn't really fit on this road. But it's always quite good entertainment. Here we go. The Alpine is off the line very, very well. The Charger had a wheel spin in towards the wall. They're 3 wide and squabbling. The Alpine's vanishing away. Just don't crash it all at main turn 1 as something whizzes past. I guess that was probably the Lotus sound that was going on there. Mercedes has got the Dodge for company. The Alpine's all over the place on the bumps. I don't think that Alpine likes the bumps whatsoever here. Oh, Charger's in the wall on the outside. The Birdcage will go to the lead. Alpine tries to sneak up underneath the Lotus with a mega run on the outside, try to avoid that wall, and it is the 11 that's looking most likely to take that lead away from the Birdcage. They touch through there. The Lotus is such a twitchy car. That's such a difficult vehicle to drive. That's off towards the fence. The Alpine's fighting back with all the traction. The American cars in this are not all that far behind, but trying their best to get involved. The Alpine wants to get up the inside of the Birdcage, can't quite do it. The Lotus, Alpine's in the fence on the outside. The Lotus is around the outside, and I think that Lotus might have got this. If there's no big error on the final corner, it will be the 11 that wins from the Birdcage. The Alpine beats the Camaro, and the Dodge is across the line in 5th. The Mercedes might have broken down. Do we need to send a recovery truck? Oh, there it is! The Mercedes is across the line in a 6th position. I said it was going to be chaos. It was. A little more controlled chaos than I expected, but chaos nevertheless. We move on to the semi-finals, and starting us off is the Lamborghini Miura up against the giant pink barge. It's proved quick, the Cadillac. The Miura is also a decent car. This could be an interesting one to see play out. We shall launch them on their way. Good start from the Lamborghini. A fairly even start between the pair of them. Now, this is where the Cadillac is likely to start pulling on that on that Miura, and sure enough, off it shoots into the distance. However, you might see the Lamborghini a little bit better in the twistier sections of this course. It doesn't quite have the weight of the Eldorado, but it does have the engine, the slightly better engine positioning. If that might help it a little bit with the old traction as the Eldorado leads its way up the hill. Lamborghini is closing in a little bit through all of this. Now, the hairpin is going to be important. We saw the Miura fight back from second position on the very final corner. It's going to have to try and do something similar. The Cadillac's so good out of the hairpin. That is the one play. The Miura's good, but it's just not as good as the Eldorado. The Lamborghini's slipping and sliding its way. I think that's a little bit too wide through all of there. Too much time wasted for the Miura. The Cadillac is going to slide its way around the final corner, and it will be the Cadillac into the final. The Miura put up a good fight. It just couldn't match the Cadillac's traction out the hairpin, and in the end, that is kind of what made the difference. Well, there is guaranteed to be one Ferrari, one Italian car in the final, as we have two incredibly expensive. I mean, the Shelby Cobras are expensive, but not quite as much as these two. 250 California, the Heretic Ferrari. I mean, that one there probably wouldn't be worth very much in that, guys. And a 250 LM. I would think the 250 LM is going to be tough to beat here, but we will have to wait and see. You never know on this rally stage. Pretty even between the pair of them off the line, actually. If anything, now it's the LM's turn to start pulling. It's very close. Very, very close between the pair of them. You don't really want to go too wide through here. It is certainly a little bit sketchy going too wide through here in places. They managed to deal with the bumps a little better than the Alpine was finding, and the tiny lightweight Lotus. Around our first main corner we go. Still very even between the pair of them as we dart up the hill. The LM's looking, but you'll be on the outside around this next corner, which is far from ideal. The California is going to want to cover the inside of the hairpin, which it does. Make sure there's no room to dive. In fact, the LM has a very, very big dive, but gets a big switch on the exit. Here comes that California back alongside as they rub doors. They swap paint in this, as I said, some of the most expensive cars in the world. The California is out very, very wide through there. It's going to have a go at the final corner. There's no doubt about it. It is up the inside. Returns the favour. The run to the line. The California gets it. Just doesn't end up in the drink. The California gets it. It was always going to have a go at the inside. Down there we have the police doing a celebratory donut. I don't think they normally do that at race events, but you know what? Sure, why not? California is through to the next round. Well, after the battle of the Ferraris, we are going to the battle of the classic Americans. Up next, the Shelby Cobra is going up against my C3 Corvette, and we've both managed to bring blue cars with white stripes unintentionally, but there we go. This should be interesting. The Cobra, I mean, all of the cars at this stage are pretty fast. The Cobra looked fast. I'm hoping my Corvette is going to be good. It seems to be good so far. I have also got a kitten curling up on my foot as we speak. So if we crash, I'm going to blame kittenly distractions. If there are claws in feet, that is less than ideal for a rally situation, shall we say. Thank you, Eve. Oh, that Corvette's... the Cobra is having a wobble. There's too many C's going on in this. Far too many C's going on now. That's running wide. I think we can have a big dive, although that wider line, yeah, there's a gap to shoot for, but you can sometimes get a good drive off of the corner. Couldn't quite get my car underneath where I wanted to through here. Now we might draw alongside. It would be the inside here, but it's going to be the long way around the hairpin. However, we've seen cars get a really good run on the exit. I couldn't do it. Just couldn't get my car where I needed to. We've again got the power down really well. It's going to have to be the final corner. If I can do this, it is going to come down to the final turn. If we can get underneath the Cobra, which I can't do it. The Cobra takes it. Oh, that's annoying. Very good race. very, very good race as the Cobra goes for a swim. I just couldn't get past. I think I had a slightly faster vehicle, but as ever, I just couldn't quite make a pass stick. I maybe should have gone to the outside at the hairpin and tried getting that run there. However, I couldn't quite do it, and the hope for a final corner heroics just didn't quite come through. Still, pleased with my car. The C3 is very good for this sort of a challenge. Just couldn't quite beat the Shelby in the end. Unfortunately, that means I am eliminated. So, here are our 3 finalists. The Vintage Rally Car Tournament is between a 250 California, an Eldorado, and a Shelby Cobra. Of course it is. This is a FailRace video. What else did you expect? Cadillac is the one to beat. Really, that's the one everyone's scared of, at least. I think there could be some surprises here. It's pouring with rain again, which is never the best conditions. So let's send them on their way and see what happens. Even start between all 3 of them, actually. The Eldorado starts to pull a little bit. It's not that much, though, on the Cobra. The Ferrari's still there. The Cobra probably should have lifted out of that one a little bit, trying to fit 3 wide. Did end up in the wall. Now, the Cobra, in fact, the Ferrari's got some really good... That Turbo Rally engine, as heretic as it is, the Turbo Rally engine in that has really got some go about it. Now, here tries the Eldorado around the outside. Now, you will be on the inside up the hill, which is good for potential passing, although you've got to go the long way around the next corner as they still stick it side by side. The Shelby's not entirely out of it if these 2 tangle, because of course they're very busy battling, slowing each other down. This is where the Cadillac's fast. The Ferrari's done a very good job of staying in front of it. Here comes the Eldorado now on the exit of the corner. It's getting alongside, but it's the wrong side. Here comes the Cobra, has a massive dive. It can't make it stick. The Cobra could actually hinder the Eldorado to the point where the Eldorado can't overtake the Ferrari even if it wanted to. The Eldorado jumps the grass. It won't do it. The Ferrari is going to take victory from the Cadillac. The Cobra fought back into that, but just didn't have the time as the Cobra goes for a swim. It is the heretic Ferrari that takes the victory here, powered by a Turbo Rally engine. It is apparently the way to go for your vintage rallying needs. Quite impressive. Quite impressive indeed. The Eldorado is mighty fast. There is no doubt about that one. As is the Cobra. I'd like to think my Corvette is in there as well. The Miura was pretty damn... Right, in fact, let's face it, you got through to the semi-finals. The cars were damn fast. Overtaking is difficult around here. The Eldorado tried. I actually do think the Shelby getting in the way slightly hindered the Eldorado. The Shelby having a go. The Eldorado just couldn't take the lines it wanted to. So in some ways, the Cobra paid. It certainly did play its part in that final. That, though, is going to be it for this video. Thank you all very much for watching, and until next time, a goodbye.